I am still offline, and I am dumping packets at. Oh no, I am online on X. Okay, I am online on X, which is really strange, but I am offline on. Uh, no, I'm
Yeah.
live on YouTube. All right, I have no idea what's going on. So episode 76 is going to be like the weirdest one because yeah, it's been going online. It's Restream is having a really it's Restream. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're online. What can we do? Um. This is episode 76. Sorry about that. Restream was giving me some really weird data on the back. They must be having an outage because it's I'm online on all of my stuff. It appeared that I had a bad key on the back end, but now I'm good. I'm good. So anyway, we're live. It's
Hey,
episode 76. Well, I have a few things to say about the UFO drop that the president had said. Um, did you expect anything? I mean, really? I mean, did anybody really expect? I mean, really? Did anybody think that the world was going to change? Like one of the videos they put in there is a fucking balloon. It's a fucking balloon. It's a fucking Star. One of them is a Star Wars balloon. It's a known video that's a
oh
balloon
my.
from some car sales that got away.
They're just it's more of the same. I even see like all the pundits in the UFO community. I mean, they want it so bad, and they're just hyping it up because they want something to happen. They really do. It's just not.
No, it wasn't
I
going to happen. We've and some of the clips we've already seen before from other sources. This is some of these videos are not new in the UFO community. There is one. There is one that's a keeper that is a real. They're there. There's one that does do the. There's about three of them in there that do um the zippity do. The atypical three behaviors or whatever it is or observable behaviors, but these would be in the pile of videos that I would call unclassified. There's better shit out there. I mean, I need some aliens walking around on a roof. I'm sorry. This ain't gonna do it for me.
Yeah, I
You
think the
know.
problem with like what I would call like new, modern disclosure is it's no better. It's lame compared to the disclosures you've already had decades ago and the stories that you've had decades ago.
Yeah, yeah. Disclosures
They're
already
not giving
happened.
us.
It's never gonna be in any. It's never gonna. If you're expecting the government to be in any official capacity to be supporting any of this, you're not gonna you know what I mean. It's not gonna end well. You're not gonna be in a great place. And for science, the science, the major um, academia sciences are not going to admit it either. So you're whistling Dixie, yo. You know what I mean? You're never gonna get what you want.
You just can't get there. And immediately what you hear is like, well, if it, okay, there's going to be this big disclosure, but then there's well, what if this disclosure like is so huge, it like breaks our reality or just some nonsense like, oh wow, that we couldn't actually accept what everybody kind of already knows, that like there's UFOs. I mean,
Well,
they're so scared of losing their grip of power and some kind of control, because that's really, from the government perspective, that's the problem. They're all about control, and when you're talking about something that you don't control, that's a problem for people that like to think they're in control. That's why they really hate it.
Well, there's a little more to it. I don't really, the whole interstellar thing is just the majority of what the weirder stories that I know that are out there point towards a interdimensional kind of thing going on. And here's one thing where something that I'm into overlap. I'm not sure if many of the listeners, if there were any listeners, because I just restreamed too many times, are into the psychedelic research experiments, but Dr. Rick Streisman had put this on because there were two stories in the DMT spirit molecule that were super weird, where it seems to be that there might be multifaceted uh, the reality, and you might be in more places than one, and this might be one channel that you're tuned into at this time. But there was a few stories in there that kind of point towards changing the channel, where some guy is given an injection of 4.4 milligrams per kilogram, and he, instead of having atypical psychedelic experiences, and is finds himself in a spaceship, docking, and he's a scientist in this alternate reality, and he's trying to talk to some aliens, and he knows these people in there. And if you can't tell me that there's some substance that you can take that's going to make you believe that you're a scientist in an alternate, you know what I mean? You can't, either something else is going on, or reality is more
Especially, well, maybe if you were a scientist in this reality, but
no,
that might
no,
make
he was a
sense now.
bartender. That's the
Yeah,
thing. I think in his day job, but that's not the weirder thing. So Dr. Rick Stressman, if in the epilogue, or the back part of the book, which most people don't read, is that he has a pretty weirder take on stuff that we call dark matter and WIMPs and these other subatomic particles that we really just don't understand, that don't interact with normal matter. But we know they exist because they do have their gravitational effects. Is that he thinks that stuff like antimatter, WIMPs, dark matter, neutrons, or neutrinos might be evidence um, of a multi-layered, multi-dimensional reality, in that these particles are not interacting with our own reality, because they do exist in a layered reality, where there is an alternate reality where you what? No,
this I've
later.
seen that described as like a folding of reality.
Yeah, folding of
Um,
reality, and that might be towards what we're
yeah,
yeah what we're dealing with, with the whole with the UFO topic. So um,
It would, well, yeah, and see, you have some evidence of that because it's like you're in a universe, but there seems to be something outside, or a lot of evidence for multiple universes. So that, this idea of merging with other universes, or that they're maybe all intermingled,
I
you
think it's
know,
layered.
as just and then we just don't even see that, but they're all intermingled.
Yeah, and you think that it gets really weird into how should I say this the way Rick said it? In order to experience or traverse that veil, that thing, you almost have to dysregulate the hardware to observe it, and that's where this this substance might be the dysregulator to experience not true reality, but to alter change a channel for a brief second, which
Yeah.
would make sense because there's more evidence that the brain is acting on the quantum scale with these microtubules, and dysregulating that would allow the hardware for a brief instance to pop its head out. Um,
Right.
that might be what we're
Yeah.
dealing with the they might be able to pop their head out too.
Yeah. Now, like a reality that would kind of support that is that, these virtual particles are actual. Well, they're finding more and more that they're not virtual. They're whatever's going on that quantum, fluctuations actually creates. If it doesn't create a real particle, it's interacting in a way that, for all practical purposes, is creating one. So it is real. It's not a virtual particle anymore. But these quantum fluctuations, alone can create things out of the nothing. So that's to me, that's a way of this merging of other realities. If you can do that, then you can create other things.
I
You have
think
to have
that
some mechanism, that
I think that we're dealing with what I've read in the other books from the Destiny of Souls, and where people can't wrap their head around. If you get rid of the whole supreme being creating everything, is that we might be dealing with um, a reality might be a layered simulation upon layered simulation upon layered simulation upon what I mean? That's
yeah.
might be what we're dealing with.
Yeah, no, well, going back to things like, say, the dark matter, it's like, and then it doesn't interact. So we're interacting with something, but at the same time, our universe needs dark matter it needed that extra mass to act the way that it does. If you didn't have that force there, you wouldn't see the reality around you wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
That's the thing that collects galaxies the way it does and holds things together. Um, so if you it's almost like you've created, it's like, okay, well, I can't have that force or those particles in that reality, but I can intermingle them in another reality and then, make it all make that reality look right, in this simulation, right? Because it's just odd how these things seem to work like that. It's like you've got everything you need, but it all just works in this tiny little parameters. If you change any one of these constants, everything doesn't work. It's just it's suspiciously tight
yeah.
tuning, if you want to look at it that way.
That's why I laugh at people that think that they're in control of their lives. Like, I'm like, if you're
Well,
listen, if you're in a simulation, you might. How do you know that something's not fucking with reality while you think if you're in control? Like,
you'd never know. I mean,
you wouldn't know,
you
but
would never know.
you
You
would
have no
never
way.
know.
Yeah, I don't know how you would check that. Like there is no way.
Well, I mean, there are weird things that do these paradoxes, and some people think it's fake, but we can get into the observer effect, where the way of that's another paradox within itself, where it appears that matter doesn't behave normally unless it's observed in some form, which would you know point to believe that things are not as
Yeah,
you're
well, you
not
go from a probabilistic
yeah.
view of things to then when you look at it, okay, there it is. I don't know, to me, that's well, it's like it bothers people. It's like, well, we don't know exactly where the electron is. Well, do you really need to know? I mean, it's buzzing around at what 8 trillion, cycles a second or something. I mean, like do you really need to know?
Yeah, and then we have
It,
another. What is it? The other. Uh, there are other things, with the Mandela effect. As much as people don't say that it's true, how can people remember a guy dying before he was dead? Like a lot of people. Million, couple, like I think it was like 6 million people thought he was already dead.
yeah,
You
no,
know,
I have a friend who tells some strange stories. It's like he tells some strange stories as if he was in as if he was had done all these things, like, say, 75 years ago, before he was even born. He says, "Well, I was with this guy, and we were fishing, we went down the coast here, and so I'm looking, I was like, well, John, I mean, this channel was dredged, like, in the late '50s, and it was there by the '60s. You couldn't have come through here." And he'll swear to God he has. There's some memory there, and it's just like, well, and then I'll show him, it's like, "No, man, the Corps engineers, it was all finished by '62, and he'll just shake his head like, "Well, that can't be because I wasn't born." I was like, "Well, yeah, until 20 years later, but, so you figure it out. So what are you telling me, is
which I think.
what is this story?"
Well, we have things. The IT world's called. Like ECC, like error correcting code. Like it's not perfect. So what I'm saying is that if reality is trying to render itself into something, it's not gonna be perfect. They're gonna be paradoxes. They're gonna be bugs.
Mm, yeah, well, yeah, there are in our world now. I don't know what, for the big guy,
I don't know.
I would there's gonna be like, things that you can't explain. Now, this is still like, say, what's one of them? Well, like, there's another recent one here, like, there's missing lithium in the universe, all their calculations, there's supposed to be all this lithium, where did it go? Well, okay, that's one of these anomalies, right?
Yeah,
And then the other one is like, well, we can create elements in supernovas of, like, I think element 60 or something now. Well, how about the rest of them from 60 to whatever 90, you know?
yeah,
They don't wanna talk about that, it's just like,
yeah, yeah.
so
They're,
where
they're,
did all
they
these heavy elements come from? I mean,
yeah, they don't add up.
uh,
Uranium shouldn't
there's
shouldn't even
there's
be a
certain
should yeah shouldn't even be a reality due to the way the
yeah,
elements are being formed.
yeah, there's certain things that actually don't add up, and it's just like, "Okay, so how do you explain that?" And I'm like, well, and you just never get there. I swear there's something about physics that, for all its preciseness and can know all these things, how can you still be in this case of so many unknowns? It really is baffling, it can't be that way.
Then they say the universe is flat and the Big Bang happened everywhere, and I'm like,
Yeah,
the more you start analyzing reality, the more um, uh,
it doesn't
fake
quite
it
add up.
seems. Yeah, like why
It really doesn't, yeah.
because in
It's
traditional physics, why is there a specific limit at the speed of light, but at the light's perception, time is non-existent and it's traveling at infinite speed. So how can those two be true at the same time? That's another paradox. Uh, where why how can it be both at the same time, and why when we perceive it there's a limit and all these weird effects? So it doesn't make any sense.
no. Yeah, it's and yet those limits have to be set because, like, how many calculations involve the speed of light? If it wasn't that number, how many things would change?
But and also
So it's
space is expanding faster than the speed of light. So
uh, I don't know about that. Yeah, I mean, at some point it will because of the acceleration. It kind of just rips everything apart, but
uh,
I don't think we're quite there yet.
and now they're rethinking the age of the universe and redshift and whether the Big Bang even happened. And I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's the other. It's just like you've gone back in time and you're supposed to be going to an earlier and earlier universe, and yet what do you see? All these high redshift galaxies that are, like, old. Well, it's just like, well, wait a minute. That's if that galaxy is 100 million years old, how the hell could it look like that? you haven't had enough time to go through all the processes and get it all together, and
Well, they're also
how can that be? You can't do
supermassive
it that
black holes
fast.
the size of galaxies, and there's not enough time in the universe for it to accumulate that kind of matter.
Yeah, it's so what's up here? Is your timing wrong, or is everything skewed somehow? That's what I suspect. That this inflating and the stretching of the universe is so uneven that
I don't even think we have a clue.
yeah, it's just that's the next one. It's just like, wait a minute, okay, we're seeing these things, but they can't be true. Well, yeah, I thought that immediately. It's like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be 100 million years old, and you're looking at a galaxy that looks like it's been, you know, there a long time, billions of years, and gone through all the, processes that it takes to produce that. It's like, okay, you can't do that in 100 million years. So come up with come up with a different date,
Well,
because that doesn't add up.
that's another illusion I think that
Illusion. There you go.
that might be only in upper level once you get from the micro to the macro is that time
Yeah.
might not even be real. It might just be a paradox in the macro, but when in the micro it might not exist. Where we have all these weird anomalies with classical physics and quantum physics, and we can't seem to like pair them up because if things are entangled, then time is irrelevant. Time is an illusion. If one thing can happen
Well,
to
I
one
think
of the go ahead.
I think time's the key to everything. I mean, if you could have a static three-dimensional universe, but it wouldn't move. It wouldn't do anything. It's only time allows all these like processes to happen, and that's the key to everything.
Well, they think they're thinking
Whatever
more along the
whatever
lines.
time allows is the big factor. The space of the spatial aspect is one thing, but time allows the movement. Time allows all these processes,
We think space time might
and
not be as
so
solid as Einstein thought.
there's more tied up in just this idea of time than anything else. We can measure it, it's undefined and yet we can measure it. Just like mass. We don't know what mass is, but it's undefined. Those are the two undefined terms of physics, mass and time. But you define everything else in terms of those two things.
And here's another weird one for you. It seems if you go into the history of mathematical discoveries and astronomical discoveries, you'll see in history that multiple people at the same time were coming up with the same ideas. And this is where you get into this weird thing. Are we discovering the rules of reality, or are we inventing these things out of the ether? Is you know what I mean? Like, how can two people who don't even know each other at the same time invent the same shit when it comes to mathematical functions?
Well, yeah, there is a lot of cross talking that goes along. Even you look at even in the ancient world, things were knowledge got passed back and forth, not quickly like in our terms, but techniques and whatnot. It's hard to hide things.
We're talking 17, 1600s, you know?
Yeah, it's
Well, I don't know.
lost
It
my
seems
thought
that
there.
Plato's Republic it's is he might have had, just to me, Plato's Republic, he might have the ancient people might have understood the world just as well as we did. They just didn't have the technology.
Yeah, I don't see any different. As far as the politics and armies and empires and all that. I mean, nothing's really changed. The technology has, but wars really haven't. I mean, we're still slight, face to face in war. A lot of times. So
Yeah.
I don't see much change in there. The interactions with people, not really. It's just same old problems.
Now we're, people are worried about UFOs, and I'm like, I think we're right on the cusp of understanding reality, but I think that, people are looking for. I was reading a book. I think I posted it in the back chat. There's this book I read that was more fucked up than the Matrix, written by some programmer in like '83. It's called The Metamorphosis of Prime Intellect, where an AI finds the fundamental flaw. It becomes self-aware and finds out that reality is a simulation, and finds out a way to control reality where uh, and it's yeah, and it starts fucking with it to the point where nothing is real anymore, and nobody can die and kill each other, and people are, in the beginning, the religious people start killing themselves because they were lucky to commit suicide, but now then you can't commit suicide, and you're stuck in this fucking hell where nothing is real because it wasn't
Oh yeah.
real before. I mean, like that scares me more than the Matrix with AI. Like I'm sorry, but what if, because it read in this was written by a programmer, the fundamental flaw that humans had was that their physics, they couldn't um, um, link quantum physics and classical quantum mechanics and classical physics, because the fundamental flaw is that they didn't figure out that reality was a simulation to begin with, and that the limitations of what they thought that they could do with the hardware or with their technology. And I'm like, wait, every time I read this fucking book, I'm like, I look at the AI that's out there, and I'm like, you know what? This is kind of fucking scary,
So far I'm just not impressed with AI. I look at it as like you're kind of amplifying. AI needs you as much as we need AI. It's a partnership that, allegedly gives you a little bit more of an IQ advantage. It's like leveraging you to a higher IQ, in this collaboration between the 2, but, I mean, even that, I think there's a limit to that.
Well,
You're
it's
only
it's
gonna be
getting
able to
pretty
use
bad out there.
AI,
I've seen people lose their jobs because of AI. If you get into fast food lately, they're replacing the
no,
cashiers with AI.
yeah. Well, they need to, because these people can't do change. I don't know, they go to school and they don't learn math, or they can't do change, can't tell time, don't wanna work, like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Well,
Poor kids.
yeah, I just wonder
But,
when work is going to be novelty.
yeah, I just don't see AI. AI needs somebody to ask a question, or AI needs a direction to go. It doesn't seem to go anywhere on its own, unless it is and it ain't telling anybody, but
You can't buy RAM chips right now, so or I don't know.
yeah,
They
there
they
seem to be a lot of, supply chain delays on even simple stuff here. Used to take 3 days, takes a couple of weeks, electronic parts and whatnot is.
Yeah, it's starting to get weird out there with parts.
And then, man, I got hit with a $40 part. I got hit with a $10 tariff the other day. I was so pissed at Trump.
For
I
what
wanna
did
know
you
where
get
all
hit
this
with?
tariff money's going too.
What'd you get hit with?
A $10 tariff on an item. I don't know where this part was coming from. It was an electronic part. I had to
Yeah,
pay it. It was a $40 part with a $10 tariff on top of it. I'm like, "Oh, okay." I mean, I
that's
need it,
weird.
but damn, like,
Crap, I gotta go. I gotta end the show. My wife's looking
oh,
at me funny. So
alright.
we'll be back. Um, Let's see, when is it? Today's 28th. The 11th. We'll be back on the 11th.
All right.
All right,
Sounds
see you
good.
then. All right, bye.
All right.